Hello there, it's Kim again, coming to you with another paper crafting video. Not really showing you anything today, but we're going to do an unboxing. I'm Kim with Wild Rose and Pearl, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based out of the Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. Now I'm going to show you our new stamp positioning tool today, right inside this box. Those are only available to brand new signups with Stampin' Up! They may be selling them in the future, but right now you can only get a stamp positioning tool if you sign up to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Now, you don't have to sell anything. You just kind of get the deal and you get access to purchase that stamp positioning tool. But there is no requirement to sell anything. And then if you don't want to continue on with it, and you get your 20% off right away, 20% off of all products right away, as soon as you become a demonstrator, hobby demonstrator. And then, yeah, you can take advantage of that for 3 months. After 3 months, if you don't make your minimums, you just dissolve. It just dissolves and you're not a demonstrator anymore. You lose your 20% and you become a customer again. But if you'd like to join my team, I would love to have my first wildflower team member. We'll pick you a flower. Figure out which wildflower you are. Okay, let's open our box. I have other things in here too. I have stuff from our new online exclusives that became out. So I will have some of those items in here too. Online exclusives, new January catalog. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you that I have the stamp positioning tool in here, okay? We're going to come back to this because it requires a bit of showing. I got to show and tell on that one. I pulled in some stuff so I can give you and show you some examples, but here is something I got. This is called the Springtime Scenes, and if you look, there's a little ladybug in there. I saw that ladybug, and then I saw the framing that can be done with the die cuts on this one, and I thought, oh, I should pick that one up. I could do a really fun class with this. Love the nature components to it. The sentiments are really pretty. So sweet springtime, sending lots of sunshine. Love that. Celebrate new beginnings. We'll get through this together, and you brighten my day. And then here are the die cuts. So we're getting some really cool stuff, but again, that ladybug, excited about that. So let's open that up and see, because it'll usually tell you whether or not it's 50% of the imagery sizes or something on there. So clearly this and this are not the same size. Now, they used to say that the images on the front of here are 50% to scale or 80% to scale. Now they don't really tell us that. So we find out as we get them. So these are going to be really beautiful. Like, that's quite large if you think about the size of like a card, like a basic card front. Let me just pull in the back of a card here. So this is the size of a basic card. So to have that frame on here, great way to store these is with magnets, but to have this frame on here, got all my sticky tape from there. It's going to take up a fair amount of a card front, right? So it's going to fill in some pretty significant space there. If you did like a gatefold, that would be just a really nice focal piece. It's quite large. It's not as small as you see on the front. Yeah, and then we've got our ladybug, which is going to be about this size, and of course the stamp will go with it, but yeah, nice large ladybug on there. Yeah, this one should be fun to use. Everybody's doing the cute as a bug, and I thought, nah, I could do this one instead. And then I'm getting a little bug critter in there, but not to the same extent as the other one. The other one just keeps selling out. It's cute as a bug, just keeps selling out. So yeah, let's see the size of the stamps. Yeah, some really nice stamps in there. I don't know if you can see them that well through there, but yeah, some really nice stamps in there. So I'll have a little bit of fun with that one. Hopefully do a springtime class with that. I got some essentials. We got some dimensionals. Those were sold out for a bit too. And then I got this cute little embossing folder. Oh, it's got ladybugs as well. Shocker. I think ladybugs is where I'm at. So yeah, there's cute little ladybugs on there, and some daisies and some flowers. That's going to be a fun embossing folder to play with. And it'll go really great with my ladybugs. I can make some flying ladybugs with my ladybug embossing folder. Ladybug, ladybug, ladybug. That's the word of the day. Ladybug is the word of the day. Yeah. And then I got this paper, Delicate Dreams. I'm going to show you this because these ones never, ever show as nicely. It's quite that sound there. Never show as nicely in the catalog or online than they do in person. Okay, this is why. These are foil accents, and the foil accents are just so pretty. They make a card just so easy. So it looks like a copper accent to this one. This is our A side. And our B side. Oh, that's nice. That's a great neutral texture. That just looks like a canvas or a linen. Look at that pretty one. Now, because this is white with a foil, you can take a brush and you can blend any color you want into the background, and then your accent will be the foils. So just imagine this with like a deep purple, or like, yeah, deep purple or like a teal blue. Beautiful. And then of course we got our B side, which is just like a cloudy sky. Yeah, that did not excite me as much. That's why they call it the B side. Although the B side of a tape, sometimes I like the sound better on that side. Then we've got some more copper here. Very pretty, delicate lines with this one. But do you see how my light's just showing you all the fun stuff? And then our B side. It's the linen again, but it's got little squares. Meh. So. Ooh, look at this one. See what I meant by deep colors? So here's a navy. This is a night of navy almost. And then those copper bits in there. And then our B side. Well, that's kind of pretty. But I'm going to go towards that one because it's prettier. Okay, some more leaves, or like, I don't know, they kind of look like feathers, but without the edges. Very pretty. Very pretty. And then that one's pretty though. It's like, there's a linen texture behind it, but then you've got these lovely little white. So, I mean, both really pretty. And these ones, just the leaves are, and maybe the centers of the flowers. But the leaves and the centers of the flowers is all we're getting for accent on this. But yeah, beautiful blues and like tan. And then we've got our B side. So let me know which one you think, which one is your favorite. Like, they're all pretty to me, but let me know. Okay, so I'm going to pull in some of our $5 rewards that we can get for our minimum order. So if you order a minimum of $100 each month now, you will get an option to buy a $5 product of the month. Now it can be paper, it can be stamps, it can be all kinds of things. We never know until the beginning of the month. And December was when we started. So in December, we brought in this paper. This was called the Hues of Blues paper, and it was really pretty. So this was December's product of the month. Just kind of showing you a little bit here of what we got with that. some really pretty papers, and 6. I think that's it. Now the rest are all duplicates. So yeah, some really pretty paper in there. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pull a little bit of that in and just cut a bit of that. So I pulled that in. And then a couple of pieces of paper so we can play with our stamp positioning tool today. And I'm going to use January's product of the month, which was $5 too. So $5 for this stamp set. And then this month, beginning of February, we had another set of papers. Now those are coming, and I'm going to say one of them has a mermaid tail like looking paper to it, one of the pieces. So yeah, I thought I would pull this in today though to show you how to use some of the components of our stamp positioning tool here. A lot of the demonstrators have picked this up because it is available to demonstrators right now, but it is not available to the public. The only way you can get it, again, like I said earlier, is by becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, hobby demonstrator, right? Do what you will with it. Okay, so we've got our stamp positioning tool here, and they've given us how to use. There's also a video online. I was lucky enough to have a sneak peek at this early. We had demonstrator development member come and have a little party with us, and Genevieve, and she came and showed us this ahead of time, so we got to have a little sneak peek at how it works. So inside you get a small plate like this. Okay, I know there's a glare here. That's the only lights I have. So you get a small plate like this. Then you also get this large plate, which is the same size here. And then I'm going to pull those off because of the glare. You can see though, there's a grid on here. So it allows you to do measurements and straight lines. Same thing here. There's a grid on here. So those are two benefits to it. It comes with 2 magnets that are enclosed inside of these little plastic sleeves. Now, our first stamp positioning tool we had, we'll call it Stamparatus, we had magnets that were so strong that they would go like this and snap together and they would break. It was wild. They were super strong. These are not as strong, but they're strong enough to hold your paper on. They're going to be strong enough to hold your paper on. Okay, so we've got those 2 magnets. And then we've got our bottom platform. Now, I didn't get the grid paper that went with it. There is lines here. I should have gotten that in hindsight. I do have some old grid papers that were from the 8x8 when we had 8x8. So let's see if that will kind of help here. If I line this up, I could line this up. If I line this up where those are on the lines, it'll at least show me this is 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. You can see here that there is the measurements here on this piece, but the paper that comes here, it kind of clips onto these little clips here, and it's made for this, the grid paper that they have. So it is much better than what I'm trying to do here. Okay. So there's 2 ways you can use this. You can either use it like this so that you can get a whole bunch of stamped images over and over and over again. So this is one way you can use it. You can use it like this. And then you use your big stamp positioning tool. So you've got your big sheet of paper in here, right? And you put on your stamp positioning tool, you put your stamp onto here. Let's grab one of those stamps that was in here. I want to do the happy birthday. If I was doing just like an image instead of a sentiment, let's say I had a big, huge flower and I needed to do it several times, I would position my flower here in a way that I wanted it to be. So you can do anything. I can put it this way or this way, right? And then I would take my Stamparatus and stamp positioning tool, and these two pieces here are going to end up going over top of these rods here. Now these squish down, okay? And then this one here squishes down on this end. He squished down on this end. So then you place this over top. And that stamp is, I've laid it on exactly the way I want to, right? Then I'm going to take my stamp positioning top platform. I'm going to go like this, grab it, and then pick it up. Now, once I have ink on it, it's very sticky right now, but once I had ink on it, I would be able to place this in here, following this groove here, be able to place my paper in there, and be able to put my ink on my stamp like this, flip it over, and stamp it down. And of course, like I said, it was sticky, right? I'd be able to stamp it down and then pull this one out, put the next one in, stamp the stamp, boop, and it would be in the same spot every single time, right? Another way you can use this, which is the one I'm actually going to do and show you how, is for generation stamping. So I have got 2 pieces of paper, and I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to pull off this happy birthday here because I want to do a fun little technique with the happy birthday. And I'm going to use the small positioning tool, which is going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to line up with these raw dots on the top here. So this allows me to press and pop, move it by 1, press and pop, move it by 1, press and pop, right? So that's going to be really cool. That's going to be a really cool technique. So I'm going to place my paper. Let's place that on the 0 mark there. And I want to center that. And then I want to add my happy birthday. Now you can see the stamp that I've picked is quite tight to these edges. Now I want to make sure that when I go to pick up my stamp, I've got this lined up just right. So let me see, how do I want this? Happy birthday. And it's basically from edge to edge. So this tool is going to be super in this situation here. So now I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to pick up my stamp. I'm going to press on the paper because I just want it to stay down. Because like I said before, it gets sticky, right? So let's just press that down. Now I'm going to pull in Balmy Blue. And I'm going to stamp some Balmy Blue on there. And stamping spots, they've said that stamping spots can be very useful for this, just because they're small and a little less cumbersome when it comes to stamping onto the block. Okay, so now I'm going to place this here because I want this right in the center of my card, and I'm going to place down my first stamp. Now this is what I want to show you that's so super cool about this. So I've got my happy birthday first generation. Now I'm going to move it over 1, and I'm going to stamp it second generation, and I'm going to move it again and stamp it third generation. So now I've made my own little paper there. So then the next one, I'm going to stamp this. And if I missed anything, it should stamp quite nicely. So now, because I'm trying to make that shadowy effect, I'm going to stamp this one off once on a scrap piece of paper. Let's pull in a scrap piece, actually. I think that would be better. Let's pull in a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to stamp this off once on this scrap piece of paper. And then I'm going to do the second generation and third generation, but in the other direction now. So we're going to place this here. Nice and straight. Second generation. And one more over. Third generation. So now I've created my own little paper. If I wanted to, I've created one that goes from light to dark to light to dark, right? If I wanted to, though, if I had kept this on the plate, because I'm not sure I could get it on there now, perfectly centered. But let's say I wanted to do this all the same strength. So I'm going to pull in another piece. Actually, why don't I just flip this one upside down? No, I'll pull in another piece. Here's another piece of paper. I'm going to line this up so it's centered. Again. I'm going to stamp my stamp again. I can see how a stamping spot would be a little easier in this situation, just because you can get it a little more even with the stamping spot. Okay, so now I've got that centered, got this on real nice, lined up again, stamp number 1. Now that didn't stamp very well, right? Beauty thing about a stamp positioning tool, if you don't get it right the first time, you can go back, put some more ink on there, come back, line it up, nice and good, and then press down again. Look at that, that's solid now. No mistaking that. Now, had a little bit of splotchiness on it the first time around. Okay, number 2. So I'm just going to take my magnet here and kind of move it down. Again, I didn't get really good coverage on that. I don't know why. The beauty thing about this is that if you have like arthritis or you have shaky hands, a stamp positioning tool will help you to get a nice clean image every time. And you're just pressing up and down. So it helps if you have any kind of like shakiness, like I said, or arthritis. It's just really nice to take the pressure off of having to get it straight too. That's another thing. Having to worry about getting things straight is a worry for some people. They just want to know that when they line something up, because I've done it, even though that was a solid stamp, because I've done it with all the other ones, I'm going to do it with this one too. I'm going to double up. Get some double strength on there. Three. And then we'll do the last 2. And then I will have made my own happy birthday kind of background paper there. And again, because I did that the first 2 times, just gonna do it again. But do you see how like fast this is going? Like I'm just able to place it on there, fill in any gaps I'm missing. And then I will have my own little paper, and I'll show you how I just make up a card really fast by doing this fun technique with the stamp positioning tool. Okay, so now I've got my happy birthday, stamped it several times with my stamp positioner tool, and it's really bright up against this other paper. It would have been a little bit lighter, but now I can either cut this into strips and add it on, or just leave it like that. Tie a ribbon around it, maybe put some embellishments on it. And then I've taken my designer series paper and I've cut it into 4 inches, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. And then I can just, place this on with some dimensionals if I want. Do you know what I should do though? I should wrap a little ribbon around it with a bow. So just give me a second. Gonna find myself a little bit of ribbon. This isn't necessarily the right blue, but it's a nice accent blue. So I will just wrap this around across the center here. Where do I want to put that? Over a happy birthday? In between? Yeah, we're going to go up here. So I'll put it here. One. And across. I don't have a lot of my tools over here. I should have foreseen that I would want to finish this baby up. Don't even have any scissors over here. Jeez Louise. Where's my scissors? Okay. Got some ribbon scissors here. Just cut that off. Make myself a little bow. This was the end of a spool, so I'm going to have to take that little bit of tape off there. The very end of a spool. Using the very last of everything. Make our lovely little bow. Do I have any embellishments lying around? Not over here. Okay. Let's tie that bow real nice. Sometimes you gotta tug and pull at your bows just to get them the way you want them. Kind of want longer tails on this bow, but I'm struggling to get those longer tails because of how big my bow parts are. There we go. Okay. Just tie this off. Throw that in the scraps. Grab a glue dot. We'll just use our glue dot. Place this onto our card here. Happy birthday. And then I think what would be fun was just to put a couple of little dots on there. And I think I should mat this in the blue but for now I'm just going to, I'll just finish it up for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we've got a cute little card here. And then put that on with some dimensionals, nice and popped up. Like I said, I would add a couple of little jewels to this. And then the inside, I would put a white centerpiece in that. So let's say this one hadn't been stamped on the back and you could see through it. I do kind of like the way that that kind of fades off though. Isn't that fun? Maybe I should have stuck with that one. So then this piece, sorry, it would be the other side. It would be the other side because I just want it white on the inside of the card, right? For the sentiment. So it would be this side so people could write in the card. Then if I really wanted to be fun, I would take the extra strip, because there's always an extra strip when you cut off that. When I cut off those inches on there, there was an extra piece. Now where is it? It's tucked inside here. I can see it. There it is. So here's the extra piece that was on there. So I could easily just cut this with my cutter and either add it to the inside, or I could take this, add it to the front. But yeah, you'd have this extra piece here. So I could just add it to the inside with a 1/2 inch strip, and it would just cut that bottom up a little bit, make it a little extra fun. Let's see, do I have, oh, I do not want to do this with a pair of scissors. Okay, but if I was to do a 1/2 inch strip, no, I can't do it. I can't cut it with a pair of scissors. That just seems wrong. I like my straight cuts. It was funny. I thought, oh yeah, I'm not going to need my cutter. I'm not going to need anything. I'll just bring in the paper and the pre-cut stuff. It'll be fine. And now I'm like, oh, I want my cutter. Okay, so now I'm going to finish this up with this, because this is what I would do. I would put something like that in the bottom just to add a little bit of fun to the bottom of it. I'm just putting it temporarily in there because I'm going to replace this white piece. I just don't like that I can see the happy birthday through the back. But yeah, so I would go like that. And then now when you open the card, it's got a design on the front, it's got design on the backing, and then it's got this piece to sign your name. So happy birthday. So not too bad. It's a little busy on the front. I actually think that the other one with the fading away would have been really nice, but I didn't like the third generation, maybe 2 times the 2 generation. But you can see now how the stamp positioning tool made this super easy. Those happy birthdays are all straight. There is nothing, they are not off kilter at all unless I want them to be. So yeah, that's a little sneak peek of the stamp positioning tool. Again, you can only get it if you are a Stampin' Up, if you sign up to be a Stampin' Up rep. But yeah, fun new little product to play with. Fun new little piece. And it's so simple to use. You're just pushing it down. Very, very, very simple to use. And then you've got your little mini one here so that if you wanted to do perfect lines all the way across, then you don't have to, it allows you to move it. So that was one of the cool things about the Stamparatus we used to have, is that we had this ability with the hinge to just move it one over and do that really fun technique. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this inspires you, and I hope you'll get just as excited as I was about some of these cool new things that are coming our way. we'll talk to you later. Bye.